On Christmas Eve, I was pedaling a tricycle selling roasted sweet potatoes at the kindergarten gate. A luxury car drove past my stall. When I saw the familiar license plate number, I pulled down the brim of my hat. But the little boy in the car rolled down the window, poked his head out, pointed at my stall and shouted, "I want to eat a roasted sweet potato." Bai Ningbing held the child's hand, got out of the car and walked towards me. Seeing my face clearly under the streetlight, she trembled all over. "Fang Yuan, it's you. I thought you had died in prison long ago." The beast's face changed suddenly. "Ningbing, he has been to prison. His mind has long been abnormal. What if he hurts the child?" Bai Ningbing hurriedly picked up the child and took a step back, and hurriedly drove away. I still stood in the blowing snow, shouting to the passing pedestrians. In the past, I could risk my life for Bai Ningbing. But now, there is no ripple in my heart. Those 5 years in prison have long worn away all my love. On the ground was a sticky mess of sweet potato crushed by the child. This sweet potato could have sold for 5 yuan. What a pity. I squatted down, scraped up the crushed sweet potato from the ground little by little, and threw it into the slot bucket nearby. "Oh, did you see that? That is President Bai's ex-boyfriend just now. I heard he hit and killed someone before and was on the news, and was sentenced to 5 years. Oh my God, a murderer. How can this kind of person set up a stall at the kindergarten gate? That's too dangerous. Stay away. Stay away." Who knows if he will become a psychopath and take revenge on society. The parents picking up their children haven't all dispersed yet, looking at me from time to time, whispering. I calmly roasted sweet potatoes, as if I wasn't the person being discussed. 5 years ago, I was the most dazzling genius pianist at the Beijing Conservatory of Music, and also the fiancé of Bai Ningbing, president of the Bai Group. At that time, Bai Ningbing would, just because of a casual remark that I wanted to see snow, fly me to Hokkaido overnight. I thought we would always be this happy, until the beast appeared. The beast was a poor student I funded for 4 whole years. After graduation, I arranged for him to enter Bai Ningbing's company, but I didn't expect him to go behind my back and hook up with Bai Ningbing, and even marry Bai Ningbing and have a child while I was in prison. After the crowd dispersed, I pushed my stall cart away, back to my basement residence. I struggled to lock the tricycle at the corridor entrance. Just as I turned around, I saw a woman standing at the door. The voice-activated light in the corridor had been broken for a long time, but I still recognized that it was Lin Chuyin. She was the younger sister of a big sister I met in prison, and also my only neighbor now. She carried a plastic bag in her hand, which contained a few boxes of ointment. Through the faint light leaking from the crack in the door, she saw the red, swollen, and blistered back of my hand. The red burn marks from covering my face in a panic just now looked particularly glaring on my hands covered with old scars. Her brow furrowed deeply in an instant. That old scar, running through her brow bone, twitched along with it, making her look a bit fierce. But in my eyes, this was the only bit of warmth in this world. "What happened to your hand?" Her voice was very hoarse, like it had been smoked. I subconsciously shrank my hand into my sleeve and forced a smile. "It's nothing. I accidentally burned it." "Why are you here?" Lin Chuyin didn't speak, stepped forward, and pulled my wrist without any explanation. "Come in." She pushed open my door. There was no heating in the basement. It was cold as an ice cellar. Lin Chuyin skillfully helped me turn on the small heater that only had 2 heating tubes. The orangered light lit up, finally bringing a trace of warmth. She made me sit on the only folding chair, squatted in front of me herself, unscrewed the ointment, and applied it to my wound little by little with a cotton swab. The ointment was cool, with a minty smell, suppressing the burning pain. I looked down at this woman. She spoke very little. Living next door for so long, we have communicated no more than 10 sentences. But I know, if it weren't for her help, the month I just got out, I might have starved to death on the street. I saw her and that man today. I suddenly spoke, a sentence out of nowhere. Lin Chuyin's body stiffened. "Have you still not let it go?" I looked at the water stains seeping out of the wall, but my thoughts drifted back to that stormy night 5 years ago. I received a call from the beast. He cried and shouted in panic, "Brother Yuan, help, I've been hit." On Bin Hai Road, hearing this news, I hurried over immediately. When I rushed to the scene, what I saw was a scene that made my blood run cold. The car I lent to the beast had a dented front. The bumper was covered in blood. Lying in the muddy water not far away was an old man who had stopped breathing. How was this him getting hit? It was clearly him who hit someone. Bai Ningbing was cowering in the beast's arms, draped in his coat. The car was filled with a nauseating smell of photinia, flowers, and alcohol. Any fool would know what had just happened. Fang Yuan, Bai Ningbing, saw me. No explanation. No guilt. She strode over. The first sentence was, "You go take the blame." I looked at her in disbelief. "Why?" "Bai Ningbing, are you crazy?" Bai Ningbing grabbed my wrist and roared in the rain. "I am pregnant with Asho's child. I cannot let the child's father go to prison." I froze in place. My fiancée was pregnant with the child of the student I sponsored. I won't do it, I cried, and stepped back. Bai Ningbing interrupted me coldly, her eyes frighteningly gloomy. Have you forgotten? This car is yours. And your dad's company recently had its capital chain broken? It relies entirely on the Bai family's bridge loan to stay alive. Your mom's heart surgery is next week. She approached me. Do you want to see the Fang family go bankrupt tomorrow morning? Your dad jump off a building? And your mom stop her medication and wait for death? I froze on the spot. The chill rushed from the soles of my feet straight to the top of my head. Bai Ningbing? Are you even human? I roared. Tears mixed with rainwater flowing into my mouth. Salty and bitter. I will find you the best lawyer. She reached out and wiped the water droplets from my face. With gentle movements, when you get out of prison, I will marry you. As long as you take the blame for show, I guarantee the funds for the Fang family will arrive immediately. I have people on the inside. He'll pull strings and get you out in 2 years at most. The beast cried with forbearance. Brother Yuan, I'm begging you. I can't go to prison. I still have to take the postgraduate entrance exam. My life has just begun. You are different. You are the young master of the Fang family. Even if you go to prison, you will have no worries about food and clothing when you get out. The sound of police sirens came from far too near. You know what to do now, right? Bai Ningbing softened her tone. Between the life and death of my family and my innocence, she had already made the choice for me. I ultimately still walked towards the patrol car. Because of the egregious circumstances and the fermentation of public opinion, the sentence became 5 years. The prison boss inside didn't like the look of me cleaning toilets, sleeping in wet blankets, being burned by cigarette butts. That was commonplace. Even more terrifying were the late-night gang beatings. The index and middle fingers of my right hand were forcibly stomped and broken. Without timely treatment, the bones grew crooked, the joints deformed and twisted, like withered branches, let alone playing the piano. Even holding chopsticks on rainy days made me tremble with pain. It's done. Lin Chuyin's voice pulled me back to reality. The back of my hand had been bandaged. The white gauze was a bit glaring under the dim light. I came to my senses and found Lin Chuyin staring intently at me, with emotions I couldn't understand surging in her eyes. You're shaking, she said. I lowered my head, looking at my twisted and deformed fingers. Yes, I was shaking. Because Bai Ningbing broke her promise, that so-called string pulling turned into aggravated punishment. 2 years became 5 years. And my parents didn't want me anymore either. In prison, due to good behavior, the obtained countless family phone calls were all hung up. The only one that connected was answered by the beast. Brother Yuan, stop calling. Godfather and godmother get chest tightness and anger when they hear news about you. Their newly recovered bodies can't withstand such stimulation from you. Godfather and godmother? My mind went completely blank. The next second, Mom snatched the phone away. You still have the nerve to call back? The Fang family's face has been completely lost by you. Drunk driving, street racing, hitting and killing someone. How did we give birth to an animal like you? Mom, it's not like that. I did it for... Shut up, don't call me Mom. Dad's voice came over, bearing deep disgust. We don't have you as a son. Don't ever contact us again. Just pretend we never gave birth to you. Immediately following, the beast's clear voice came from the other end of the phone. Godfather, godmother, don't be angry anymore. Have a sip of tea and calm down. I believe brother will definitely reform well inside. Shou is the sensible one. Mom's voice instantly became gentle. If only a Yuan were half as good as you. From now on, you are our biological son. Just let that unfilial son die in prison. The phone hung up. I held the receiver, listening to that string of busy tones, like a lone ghost abandoned by the whole world. He not only stole my lover, destroyed my innocence, but even my parents and my home were all snatched away. From then on, I never dared to call home again. I was afraid of hearing their doting on the beast, afraid of hearing their curses directed at me, until the day I was released from prison. I secretly went back home once, wanting to take a look at Mom and Dad from afar, but the villa gate was tightly shut. With a seal plastered on it, a neighbor told me the Fang family was long gone. For some unknown reason, old Fang allegedly passed away on the spot from a cerebral hemorrhage. His wife couldn't handle the blow, and passed away a few days later too. I stood in the bleak, cold wind, looking at that home that was once full of laughter and joy turned into a dead house. I didn't even have the right to collect their bodies. I had no home anymore. Everything Bai Ningbing promised me was a lie. Lin Chuyin, I raised my head with a dry voice. How can you say people's hearts can be that black? How can they sleep at night? Lin Chuyin didn't answer. She stood up. Her tall frame blocked the cold wind leaking in from the door. She took out a large pack of heat patches from her coat and stuffed them into my arms, as well as a bag of piping hot meat buns. Eat something, she said, not waiting for my refusal. Turned around and was about to leave. Walking to the door, she stopped. With her back to me, her voice deep and hoarse. Fang Yuan, don't look back. Those scumbags aren't worth dirty in your hands. You have me from now on. The door closed. When I opened my eyes again, it was already broad daylight. The small ventilation window of the basement leaked. In a few rays of pale morning light, I got up to open the door, preparing to set up my stall. The moment the door opened a crack, a biting cold wind mixed with a familiar perfume scent hit my face. I stiffened all over. Standing in the narrow, gloomy corridor was a woman completely out of place here. Bai Ningbing, she wore a cashmere coat. As precious as always, but her eyes were bloodshot. Seemingly having not slept all night, by her feet was a floor full of cigarette butts. Seeing me open the door, she snuffed out the cigarette in her hand, and her eyes locked onto me intensely. Ah, Yuan, that hoarse voice, carried a trace of imperceptible trembling. I subconsciously wanted to close the door. A hand suddenly thrust in, firmly blocking the door gap. Bai Ningbing, ignoring the pain of her hand caught in the iron door, forcibly squeezed in. The small basement instantly became cramped. I stepped back, step by step, grabbed the fruit knife on the table, and pointed it at her tremblingly. Don't come over, Bai Ningbing. What else do you want to do? I have nothing left. What more do you want? Bai Ningbing's pupils suddenly shrank. A flash of pain crossed her eyes. She took a step forward. With an eager tone, about back then, I had my difficulties. Back then, I really wanted to get you out. But I suddenly went into premature labor. The child's situation was critical. I laughed so hard the knife in my hand was shaking, tears smashing down from the corners of my eyes. She had premature labor, but whoever cared about my body? Bai Ningbing, your so-called hidden difficulties, was to let me go to prison for that murderer? Let my parents die tragically, without even seeing them one last time? Was to let my hands become crippled? Bai Ningbing looked at my deformed hand, her pupils trembling violently. How could this be? I clearly bribed them. I had people look after you. I didn't know you suffered such heavy injuries. I thought. She reached out to grab my hand in panic, and it was fiercely thrown off by me. Don't touch me. I find it dirty. Bai Ningbing froze in place, swallowing hard. She took out a card from her pocket, placing it tremblingly on the oilstone table. Ah, Yuan, there are 10 million in here. I know money can't make up for anything, but you need money right now. You change a place to live first. This basement is not fit for a human to live in. As for your hand, I will find the best doctor to treat you. Take the money and get lost. A cold female voice suddenly exploded at the door. Lin Chuyin had returned at some point. She carried 2 cups of soy milk in her hand. Her tall body almost completely blocked the light at the door. She casually placed the soy milk on the shoe cabinet by the door, strode in, grabbed Bai Ningbing's collar, and pushed her out the door. Who are you? Let me go. Bai Ningbing was so angry the veins throbbed on her forehead. I am his woman, Lin Chuyin. Spat out these words coldly, the scar on her brow bone looking particularly fierce. Take your filthy money and get out of here. If I see you harassing him again, I'll also let you taste what going to prison is like. Bai Ningbing was fiercely slammed against the corridor wall outside the door. That card was held between Lin Chuyin's 2 fingers and flicked onto Bai Ningbing's face, leaving a red mark. Get lost. Bai Ningbing climbed up in a sorry state, looked at me deeply, with eyes full of unwillingness and some kind of stung regret, ultimately gritted her teeth and left. The door closed again. My body lost all its strength. The knife in my hand clattered to the ground. Lin Chuyin picked up the knife and stuffed that cup of hot soy milk into my hand again. Drink it. It's not worth crying over this kind of person. I held the soy milk. Tears fell into the cup. Lin Chuyin, thank you for bailing me out. But that's the Bai group. You can't afford to offend them. Lin Chuyin squatted down, her eyes level with mine. In those usually deep eyes, revealed for the first time a sharpness called ambition. Fang Yuan, who told you I'm just a hooligan? The appearance of Bai Ningbing did not change the trajectory of my life. I still had to struggle for a living. The sweet potato stall was confiscated by urban management. I could only go to a high-end club as a cleaner, paid daily. As long as I kept my head down and worked, no one would care about a cleaner's past. But I didn't expect the phrase enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road to be true. That night, the largest private room in the club was booked out. I heard it was to celebrate the 5th birthday of the Bai family's young master. I held them up, trying my best to shrink into the corner, wanting to wait for them to finish cutting the cake and quickly clean up the cream on the floor. Mom, I need to pee. That little boy by Xiao Yu, whom I had seen once, suddenly pointed at me and shouted, "Let that ugly uncle take me." The air in the room instantly froze. The beast, sitting in the seat of honor's gaze, fell on me in the corner. A smirk crept up the corner of his mouth. Oh, isn't this brother Fang Yuan? He covered his mouth in mock surprise. Why are you working as a cleaner here, TSK? Will this smell on you choke our baby? Bai Ningbing sat next to him, holding a wine glass. Hearing this, she abruptly raised her head, seeing me in my dusty work uniform, holding a filthy mop. A flash of astonishment and embarrassment crossed her eyes. Fang Yuan, she was just about to speak, but the beast beat her to it, took out a stack of red banknotes from his bag, and threw them directly at my face. The The banknotes fluttered in the air, like red snowflakes, finally landing on the wine-stained floor. Since the baby specifically asked for you, that's your good fortune. The beast laughed so hard he shook all over. Pick up the money on the floor, one by one, and this tip is yours. Then take the baby to the toilet. Remember to scrub the toilet bowl a bit cleaner. Don't let my son think it's dirty. Although the surrounding guests felt awkward, no one dared to offend the current Mr. Qin. They all echoed with roaring laughter. Pick it up. There must be a few thousand in this handful. It equals a few months of his work, right? A murderer only deserves to do this. My knuckles gripping the mop turned white. Nails embedded deeply into my flesh. Bai Ningbing finally couldn't stand it anymore. She frowned. Put down the wine glass. Ah, show. Stop making a scene. Let him go. I want. The beast suddenly raised his voice. Tears coming at will. Ningbing? Does your heart ache for him? Bai Ningbing's expression stiffened. The guilt in her eyes was instantly replaced by annoyance. Fine. Whatever you want. She turned her head, not looking at me anymore. I want to pick it up. I raised my head, my voice hoarse but firm. I came here to clean, not to be a beggar. After speaking, I turned around to leave. Halt, the beast screamed. Who told you to leave? Manager? Where the hell did the manager go? The lobby manager ran in panicking. Seeing this situation, slapped me in the face without a word. How do you speak to a VIP? Do you not want this job anymore? Apologize to Mr. Qin immediately. That slap made my ears ring and my vision dizzy. Blood seeped from the corner of my mouth. I covered my face, looking at this room full of well-dressed beasts. Right at this moment, the door of the room was kicked open. Who dares to touch him? A furious roar. Lin Chuyin, followed by 2 rows of bodyguards in black, walked in with her aura fully unleashed. At this moment, her eyes were sharp as knives, her whole body exuding the coercion of a superior. The room instantly became deathly silent. The lobby manager was so scared his legs gave way. Kneeling directly on the ground, President Lin Bai Ningbing also stood up abruptly, looking at Lin Chuyin in disbelief. Lin Chuyin? That Lin Chuyin who is the new magnate of Beijing? How could you? Lin Chuyin didn't even look at them. Walking straight to me, she reached out her hand and gently wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth. Her movements as gentle as if treating a rare treasure. Does it hurt? She asked. I looked at her blankly and shook my head, but tears fell down disappointingly. Lin Chuyin turned around. Her gaze swept over everyone present, finally freezing on the beast's pale face. Which hand threw the money just now? The beast was so scared he shrank into Bai Ningbing's arms. Ningbing, I'm scared. Bai Ningbing bit the bullet and blocked in front. President Lin, this is a family matter. Fang Yuan is my ex-fiance. He made a mistake. We are just educating him. Educating? Lin Chuyin sneered, raised her hand and snapped her fingers. The bodyguards behind her immediately stepped forward and pinned that manager from just now to the ground. Which hand struck just now? Destroy that hand. A crisp, cracking sound, accompanied by the manager's pig-slaughtering scream, resounded through the entire room. Everyone was so scared, they kept quiet out of fear. Lin Chuyin walked to the beast, looking down at him condescendingly. Pick it up, she pointed at the money on the floor. Pick up the money on the floor one by one and swallow it. What? The beast widened his eyes. Are you crazy? I am Bai Ningbing's husband. I am from the Bai family. The Bai family. Lin Chuyin scoffed, her eyes disdainful. After tonight, it's uncertain whether the Bai family will still be surnamed Bai. She turned around and wrapped her arm around my shoulders, announcing in front of everyone, listen well. Fang Yuan is the person I, Lin Chuyin, want to protect. Whoever dares to touch a single finger of his, I will have their whole family buried with him. Under everyone's terrified gazes, Lin Chuyin led me out of that suffocating place. Sitting in her Maybach, I still felt like I was dreaming. Lin Chuyin, who exactly are you? She turned her head sideways and lit a cigarette. In the swirling smoke, her expression was obscure and unclear. Fang Yuan, 5 years ago. I was also in that detention center, but I was framed and sent in. At that time, I had no money and no power. I was beaten half to death. It was the public interest lawyer sponsored by your dad who helped overturn my case. After I got out, I swore to repay the debt of gratitude. But by the time I had the ability, the Fang family was already gone. And you had gone in. She turned her head, her eyes full of heartache and guilt. I'm sorry. I came late. But I found out some things. She pulled out a document from a folder and handed it to me. Mom and Dad didn't die of illness, nor did they commit suicide. My hand trembled. The document scattered all over the floor. On it was a copy of the hospital's medication record. In a few blurry photos, the beast was swapping a bottle of medicine into my mom's pillbox. That was a stimulant that would worsen heart disease. Lin Chuyin's voice was cold as ice. He committed intentional murder. Immense grief and anger instantly drowned me. I tightly gripped those few photos, my nails poking the photos to shreds. I'm going to kill him? I'm going to kill him? I roared in the car, tears breaking the dam. The beast not only stole my lover, destroyed my life, but also killed my parents with his own hands. There will be a chance. Lin Chuyin hugged my frantic self tightly, pressing my head against her chest. Fang Yuan. Calm down. Killing is illegal. It's not worth throwing yourself away for this kind of person. What we have to do is completely ruin his reputation. Make him spit out every piece of blood-soaked bread he consumed. Make him kneel before you and beg you to kill him. Her heartbeat was steady and powerful, beating against my eardrums sound by sound, bringing my rationality, on the verge of collapse, slowly back. Next week is the Bai group's anniversary, and also the day Bai Ningbing and the Beast hold their makeup wedding. Lin Chuyin stroked my short hair, her voice deep. When they are in their greatest glory, is also the best time to send them to hell. For the next few days, I lived in Lin Chuyin's villa. She found the best orthopedic specialist to look at my hand. The doctor shook his head. The bones have grown crooked for too long. It's impossible to recover enough to play the piano. But through surgery, appearance and basic life functions can be restored. I looked at that pair of crippled hands, my heart no longer having any ripples. Whether I can play the piano or not doesn't matter anymore. I only want revenge now. Lin Chuyin took me to do a full set of grooming. Taylor made a suit. She placed a video in front of me. That was the dashcam video of the car crash 5 years ago. This video was destroyed by Bai Ningbing at a high price. But she didn't expect the auto mechanic at the time kept a backup. Thinking of using it for blackmail later? Lin Chuyin sneered. Too bad that mechanic hadn't had time to use it. Before I found it, the video clearly recorded that. The person in the driver's seat was the Beast. His face was entirely red, obviously having drank too much. After hitting the person, he called Bai Ningbing in panic, and then the two conspired in the rainy night. Looking at the video, I actually laughed until I cried. Lin Chuyin, thank you. I raised my head. My eyes no longer had the previous cowardice and numbness, replaced by the flames of revenge. I will finish performing this play myself. The Bai group's anniversary and wedding scene? The most luxurious hotel in Beijing. Fragrant clothes and shadowy hair. Luxury cars gathered. The Beast, in a white suit, handsome and unrestrained. Bai Ningbing, wearing that $1 million custom gown, holding his arm, smiling with a face full of happiness. The big screen was scrolling through. The sweet photos of them knowing and staying with each other. The host passionately rousing emotions. President Bai and Mr. Qin's love, having experienced 5 years of trials and hardships, is still as solid as a rock. It truly makes people envious. Thunderous applause from the audience. Who says otherwise? I heard that ex-boyfriend Fang Yuan is a murderer. Good thing President Bai has sharp eyes. This kind of man deserves to die in prison. How is he worthy of President Bai? Just as Bai Ningbing was holding the diamond ring and about to put it on the Beast, the doors of the banquet hall were slowly pushed open. A spotlight hit over there. I held Lin Chuyin's arm and walked in with my head held high. After a few days of recovery and dressing up, that emaciated cleaner was gone, replaced by the former arrogant young master of the Fang family. The whole audience instantly went dead silent. Bai Ningbing's hand trembled. The ring dropped to the floor and rolled a few times. She stared at me intently, her eyes full of surprise and disbelief. The Beast's smile froze on his face, then became twisted. Fang Yuan, what are you doing here? Security, throw this crazy man out. What's the rush? I let go of Lin Chuyin's hand. Walked up the steps step by step. Picked up the ring from the floor, playing with it in my hand. On such a good day? Of course, I'm here to give a wedding gift. I walked up to the microphone, looking at those once familiar faces in the audience that are now strange. Finally looking at the pale-faced Beast. Beast, I chuckled softly, but my eyes were full of chill. Or should I call you Qin Ergu? The Beast shuddered all over, like a cat whose tail was stepped on, instantly bristling. Shut up. You shut up. My name is Qin Shou. I am Mr. Qin, am I not? I took a step closer. Have you forgotten when you knelt at the Fang family's door begging for sponsorship? Wearing torn cloth shoes? And your name was Ergu? You said your family was poor? Treated you like livestock to boss around? It was me who saw you were pitiful. Helped you up. Paid your tuition for you. Provided you with food and clothing. I said a real man shouldn't live like a wild dog. You should be upright and elegant. Indomitable. That's why I changed your name to Osho. The images in my memory surged up. Back then, he was thin and withered. With cowardly eyes, I thought I redeemed a pitiful soul, but didn't expect I raised a poisonous snake with my own hands. I treated him like a biological brother, took him to see the world, taught him etiquette. But he took my kindness as charity, my gifts as showing off, and ultimately still trampled me into the mud, and sucked my blood dry enough. The Beast screamed and interrupted me, his eyes full of resentment and a guilty conscience. Fang Yuan, stop being hypocritical here. Do you think you were helping me? You were just trying to satisfy your lofty vanity. You treated me as a lackey, a page boy. You gave me your old clothes to wear. Took me to circles I simply couldn't fit into. just to set off your nobility. I hate you. I wish you would die. Only when you are dead can I truly hold my head high as a person. His hysterical appearance was extremely ugly. The guests in the audience looked at each other in dismay. Whispers arose all around. So he is an ingrate sponsored by the Fang family. This is returning evil for good too much. A little help breeds gratitude, too much breeds enmity. Bai Ningbing was also stunned. She obviously didn't know this past. The look she gave the beast carried a trace of unfamiliarity. I looked at his crazed appearance and only felt it was pathetic. Qin Ergu, you can never become Qin Shou, because you are dirty to the bone. I finished speaking coldly, turned around and stopped looking at his twisted face. The beast rushed over, trying to grab the microphone. You are not welcome here. Get out. The bodyguards Lin Chuyin brought instantly stepped forward, blocking the beast like a wall. Let him speak. Lin Chuyin sat in the main seat in the audience, carelessly swirling her red wine glass. Today, whoever dares to interrupt him is crossing me, Lin Chuyin. Who among the people present didn't know Lin Chuyin's current methods? That is a ruthless character who eats people without spitting out the bones. No one dared to move. I turned around, looked at the big screen behind me. Since everyone is here, then please enjoy a wonderful short film. I pressed the remote control in my hand. The sweet wedding photos on the screen instantly disappeared, replaced by a shaky shot of a rainy night. The video started playing. A clear crashing sound, an old man's scream. The beast's terrified face appeared in the frame, reeking of alcohol, shouting incoherently, Ningbing, save me. I don't want to go to prison. Immediately following was Bai Ningbing rushing to the scene. The conversation between the two clearly came out, making Fang Yuan take the blame. The whole audience was in an uproar. Everyone covered their mouths in shock, looking in disbelief at the newlyweds on stage. Oh my God. So the truth back then was like this. Animals, making someone take the blame and still acting so self-righteous. This is so-called true love. Too disgusting, right? The beast screamed like crazy. Turn it off. Turn it off quickly. This is fake. It's synthesized. Fang Yuan, you bitch. You framed me. He lunged at the control console, but was kicked to the ground by me. I stepped on the hem of his expensive suit, looking down at him condescendingly. Don't rush, there's more. The scene shifted, turning into the hospital surveillance video, the beast sneaking around swapping the medicine. Then it was my parents struggling painfully on the hospital bed, until the scene where they stopped breathing. Finally, there was an audio recording. Those were the words the beast showed off to his bad friends after getting drunk. Those two old geezers of the Fang family are finally dead. From now on, Fang Yuan is an orphan. No one can snatch Ningbing from me anymore. That idiot is still in prison hoping for a sentence reduction. Ha ha ha. At this moment, the truth was fully revealed. The guests in the audience were furious. Someone even picked up the wine glass beside them and threw it at the beast. Murderer, poisoner. Bai Ningbing slumped on the ground, looking at the images on the screen. Her whole person seemed to have her soul extracted. She looked at me, her lips trembling. Ah, Yuan, I didn't know. I really didn't know he killed your parents. You didn't know? I walked up to her and fiercely slapped her in the face. You didn't know he hit someone? You didn't know I was framed? You didn't know the suffering I endured in prison. Bai Ningbing, your ignorance is the biggest accomplice. Police sirens sounded right on time. Officers rushed into the banquet hall and put silver handcuffs on the beast. His hair was disheveled, his makeup smeared all over his face, struggling like a madman. I am Mr. Qin. You can't arrest me. Ningbing, save me. Save me. Bai Ningbing couldn't even save herself. She was also, because of harboring criminals and obstruction of justice, taken away. When passing by my side, she stopped her footsteps. Her eye sockets were red, her voice choking with sobs. Ah, Yuan, I'm sorry. If there is a next life, there is no next life. I coldly interrupted her. Bai Ningbing, I want you in this life and the next life. To spend all your lifetimes in regret? Watching them being escorted into the patrol car, I let out a long sigh of relief. The heavy stone pressing on my heart for 5 years finally shattered, but I didn't feel much happiness. I just felt empty. A warm coat was draped over my shoulders. Lin Chuyin wrapped her arm around me, isolating the noisy discussions around us. It's over, she said. I leaned into her embrace, looking at the blowing snow outside the window. Yes, it's over. 1 year later. With Lin Chuyin's sponsorship, I opened a piano store. Although my hands cannot play highly difficult pieces, but I can teach children sheet music and how to feel the music. Lin Chuyin would come pick me up from work every day, rain or shine. That day, passing by a psychiatric hospital, I saw a familiar figure. The beast was wearing a hospital gown, giggling foolishly behind the iron bars, muttering in his mouth, I am Mr. Qin. I am Mr. Qin. I heard his brain was damaged from being beaten in prison and was released on medical parole. While Bai Ningbing, because in prison, she couldn't endure the gap in status and the bullying from inmates, attempted suicide several times. and now can only spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. What are you looking at? Lin Chuyin held my hand. I withdrew my gaze and squeezed back her warm little hand, giving her a bright smile. It's nothing, looking at the snow melting on the roadside. Spring has come. The end. The story delivers a profound and multi-layered message about the inevitability of karmic retribution, the toxicity of ungrateful envy, and the transcendent resilience of the human spirit when anchored by genuine love. At its core, the narrative exposes the inherent fragility of prosperity built upon deceit, betrayal, and the ruthless exploitation of others, demonstrating that no amount of wealth, social standing, or calculated manipulation can permanently suppress the truth or shield wrongdoers from their reckoning. Qin Shou's moral degeneration serves as a chilling psychological study on how deep-seated inferiority and entitlement can pervert pure benevolence into venomous hatred, illustrating the catastrophic consequences of biting the hand that feeds you. While Bai Ningbing's tragic downfall underscores that willful ignorance and complicity are just as destructive as active malice. The narrative affirms that authentic goodness is never truly wasted. The quiet seeds of altruism sown by Fang Yuan's family in the past return to him in his darkest despair as Lin Chuyin's fierce loyalty and unwavering protection, proving that kindness creates an unbreakable cycle of salvation. Ultimately, the story reminds the audience that true victory over trauma does not end with retribution. Rather, it is achieved through emotional liberation, the courage to accept irreversible scars, and the strength to rebuild a dignified, peaceful life with those who genuinely cherish and stand by your side.